Hello students, welcome to the another session of Environmental Science. I'm Utkarsh, Assistant Professor at AISSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. In this session, we are going to learn about the desert ecosystem part 2. So let us understand the objectives of the session. First, types of desert ecosystem. Second, features of hot and dry desert. Third, features of cold and dry desert. Fourth, importance of desert. And fifth, the summary of the topic. So let us understand these objectives in detail. First one, the types of desert ecosystem. In today's world, there are four broad categories of or four types of desert. First, cold desert. Second, coastal desert. Third, hot and dry desert. And fourth, semi-arid desert. Let us understand these phenomena in detail. First one, coastal desert. As the name suggests, these are generally hospitable and don't have the extreme temperature fluctuation that the other types experience. Life is more abundant here. The soil is less acidic and tend to be arid due to adjacent topography such as mountain ranges or lakes and waterway networks that draw off most of the precipitation that they would otherwise experience. Coastal desert experience a brief winter of moderate average temperature, that is 5 degrees Celsius or 41 degrees Fahrenheit for the winter, while summer typically reaches an average of between a mild 13 degrees Celsius, that is 55 degrees Fahrenheit, to a warmer temperature of 24 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The precipitation level is lower and this type of desert is better at retaining what little moisture it harnesses, on average around 5 inches or 13 centimeter annually. Now let us go to the second, which is cold desert. The first thing that comes to mind when we think about desert located in the most extreme latitude, they fall into two broad types: a long way from coastal areas and in a cold zone receiving low precipitation, in proximity to mountain ranges which draw away precipitation that might otherwise have created tundra or plains. Its annual precipitation falls as snow, which may sometime remain on the ground until the summer before it melts. If the temperature don't rise sufficiently, it may remain for over a year. Third, cold desert. Their winters are extremely cold, typically between -2 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius. That is 28.4 degrees Fahrenheit to 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Summer temperatures are pleasant and surprisingly warm, typically on an average temperature between 21 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius, which is between 69 degrees Fahrenheit and 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Precipitation is relative, and although fall and winter receives most of it, it is generally lower than the other landscapes types, and it is insufficient to support too much life, hence why they are considered deserts. A popular example of a cold desert is the Gobi Desert. Next, hot and dry desert. The typical desert usually indicted with the sand dunes of North Africa and Middle East isn't quite as empty, hot or bleak as we might think. While they do have hot summers, which is 43 to 48 degrees Celsius or 110 to 120 degree Fahrenheit, the annual average is much cooler, that is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius or 68 to 77 degree Fahrenheit. Night temperatures on an average are 10 degrees Celsius or 15 degree Fahrenheit. They also experience cold winters, a season in which the low levels of precipitation usually fall to minus 18 degrees Celsius. Summer nighttime temperatures drop considerably, which is why the annual averages are so extreme. These type experience no more than 11 inches of rainfall annually, while many more experience even less than that. Evidence from the Atacama Desert, for example, suggests that some areas have never experienced precipitation as well. Their barren appearance is broken by the occasional tree, shade and coverage is rare, and this is where you are most likely to see sand dunes. Sahara is a very popular example for a hot and dry desert. Next will be semi-arid desert. Semi-arid desert by definition has higher level of precipitation compared to other three types featured here, although are not a great deal more. They are also not limited by temperatures. They are milder generally, but they can exist farther to the north, meaning there are colder and warmer types as well. Daytime and nighttime temperatures are not as extreme, and neither are the division between summer and winter. There is some debate over whether they should be considered desert at all, but a type of plain or a steppe. The other topographical features of low precipitation, which is 1 to 2 inches or 2 to 4 centimeter annually, and high evapotranspiration leave them firmly in the desert category. Example of cold semi-arid deserts include the Nearctic zones, which incorporate Newfoundland and Greenland. Warmer examples are the sagebrush of Montana and the Great Basin and much of Australia's outback. Summer average temperatures are between 21 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius, while rarely going above 38 degrees Celsius as the hot and dry types of deserts often do. Next, we will understand the features of hot and dry desert. Hot and dry deserts are desert ecosystems characterized by high temperature and arid condition. Some key features of hot deserts are listed below. First, high temperature. Hot deserts experience extreme temperatures while scorching daytime heat and cooler nighttime. Daytime temperatures can often exceed 200 degree Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius or more. Low precipitation. These deserts receive minimal rainfall, often less than 250 millimeters, which is about 10 inches annually. Some hot deserts like the Sahara in Africa and Sonoran in North America can be extremely arid. Now let us understand the third feature of hot and dry desert, that is sandy soil. Sandy soil dominate the desert ecosystem. Sand dunes are characteristic feature of a desert biome. These dunes can vary in size and play a role in the ecosystem by providing habitats for specialized plant and animal species. Next, xeric adaptation. All the plants and animals in hot desert are adapted to survive high temperatures and dry environment. These adaptations include succulent leaves, reduced surface areas, padded feet, reduced sweat pores, etc. Let us understand the features of cold and dry desert. As the name suggests, cold deserts are also known as temperate desert. These are unique ecosystem characterized by low temperatures and arid condition. Some of the key features of cold deserts are as follows. First, varying temperature reaching to the freezing point. Cold desert experience a wider range of temperatures compared to hot deserts. While daytime temperatures can be relatively warm, the nights are often cold, with temperatures dropping below freezing point. Next, low precipitation. Similar to hot desert, cold desert receives a very minimal rainfall, often less than 250 millimeters, about 10 inches annually. Next will be soil composition. Cold desert soils are often sandy or gravelly and have low organic matter content. Next, snowfall. Some cold desert experience snowfall during the winter months. The presence of snow can provide additional moisture to the ecosystem, influencing the life cycle of plant and animals. Next, vegetation. Cold desert plants have adapted to withstand both low temperatures and water scarcity. Animal adaptation. Cold desert animals have evolved strategies to cope with temperature extremes and limited water availability. Next will be the importance of a desert. We understand the academic, functional and ecological importance of desert. Some of them are deserts as a rich archaeological sources, desert ecology and biodiversity, desert as climate indicators, desert resources, desert as a way of life, and leisure and tourism. First, desert as a archaeological sources. Some of our greatest archaeological finds have come from desert environment as we live in 21st century. Organic material survives in desert due to the lack of moisture and bacteria that can eventually break it down in wetland condition. This is the reason for the survival of many pre-dynastic ancient Egyptian bodies from shallow graves in the desert. But the archaeology of desert is about far more than simply the preservation of artifacts and their improved chance of survival. Various archaeological disciplines examine other areas of the desert like desert phenomenology. Next will be desert ecology and biodiversity. They are abundant with flora and fauna. What is so great about deserts as biome is their unique biological profile. Species exist in this environment that simply do not appear elsewhere. The Mojave Desert is a case in point. It's one of the harshest environments on the planet with a humidity level that rarely goes higher than 40%, yet it maintains abundant biodiversity throughout the seemingly barren topography. Kangaroos, for example, which live in the hot desert of Australia, are warm-blooded animals and must find shelter during the hottest part of the day to avoid overheating. Next, desert as climate indicators. Climate change presents a risk of desertification of present marginal landscape. Many of our deserts contain the remnants of ancient lakes, indicted by former water channels and preserved biotic and abiotic material, indicative of previous presence of water. The expansion of desert can directly impact global average temperatures, further increasing water evaporation in adjacent areas. Both the Sahara and the Namib are extremely hot deserts. In the recent years, have experienced some of the hottest temperature to date. Next one will be desert resources. The desert biome is one of the most important. There are 15 mineral deposit types which are available on our planet, and 13 of them are found in deserts. This makes the desert an important place for mineral resources and for local and global economy. Typical mineral resources found in desert region, both hot and cold, include salt and borates and gypsum as well. It is also no great surprise that some of our most abundant oil deposits are found in desert regions, particularly the Middle East, Central and South America, one of the driest places on earth. Next one will be desert as a way of life. The Bedouin tribes of the Middle East are true nomads in the traditional sense. They certainly perceive their lifestyle in this way, although technically they live a semi-nomadic life. They settle on lands bordering desert where agriculture is possible and food crops for livestock is abundant. Some aspect of Mongolian life in the Gobi Desert and Sami people of northern Scandinavia and the Arctic island such as Svalbard continue into their semi-nomadic traditions. At the end of 20th century, less than 1% of the population in countries where Bedouins still roam maintain that lifestyle. Next one, leisure and tourism. Desert attract millions of visitors every year from the desert of Middle East and North Africa, where visitors may see the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt to Jordan cities of Petra. The Anasazi houses at Mesa Verde is incredible sight, as is the Casa Grande monument in Arizona, built by the Hohokam culture. In South America, there are many sites and artifacts recovered from Atacama. In short, people have settled desert for hundreds of thousands of years, and dry natures make such remains attractive to visitors. Ecotourism is helping developing nations especially find ways of preserving those landscapes. Now let us summarize the topic for today. There are two main types, hot and dry desert and cold and dry desert majorly. Hot and dry desert like the Sahara feature high temperatures, sandy or rocky terrain and sparse vegetation. In contrast, cold and dry deserts such as Gobi experience low temperatures, particularly in winter, and have rocky or gravelly surfaces with minimal plant cover. Desert are crucial for biodiversity, offering unique habitats for specially adapted flora and fauna. They also serve a variety of important functions for the ecosystem. Thank you.